Hello, I'm Lewis Tyler, Managing Editor of International Fire and Safety Journal. We're here at FDIC on day 2 and I'm delighted to say that joining me is Mark Ebedes. Mark, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So we've just been walking around the stand, you've been showing us around. Now I know there's something that you're really excited to kind of get out there to the market. Why don't you explain to us what you're showing at the show?
Absolutely. Well, we are the America Fire Blanket company, and we're very excited to be launching here at the FDIC our TREV fire blanket, and that it stands for the Thermal Runaway EV Fire Blanket. We have the best solution that we're very excited about, and so is the industry, about how to contain and work with an EV fire with a blanket, because EV fires are completely different to gas diesel fires. And we have a phenomenal solution here to help deal with some of the dangers involved.
And something like this, obviously we're seeing a lot of electric vehicle fires. Have you seen at the show increased interest in something like this from the people walking around?
Yes, everyone's talking about it, the scares and dangers of EV fires. It's been a major focus of the show. The idea of using a blanket to put out a fire in a car is not new. That's been around. There are various manufacturers that can have a good blanket for a gas diesel scenario. So do we. We also provide that. But what we did was we looked at the research and saw some of the challenges when dealing with a blanket in an EV car scenario. When those batteries go into thermal runaway, it is a completely different situation to all other fires. Firstly, they can go up to 2,000 degrees or even hotter. So you're dealing with a different temperature rating that you need to deal with. But secondly, and most importantly, it's creating its own environment of oxygen and off-gassing in those type of fires, which isn't the case in other fires where you're trying to suffocate and starve it from air. In an EV and with lithium ion on fire, it's producing it. And so what happens is all these other blankets, they inflate and create a very dangerous situation. What we have is a solution to that off-gassing through our thermal runaway cowl system.
But look, Mark, something like this needs to be effective. As we were saying, there's been an influx of these type of fires. How does it work?
Yeah, so our design is actually quite simple, but most effective. Our blanket contains a cowl system here, okay? It's like a venting system so that you still get the benefit of containing the fire with a blanket and allowing those off gases, when they build up in this channel here, they can exhaust out in a predictable manner. So now first responders, when they're putting a blanket on, they can see that this is going to still contain the fire and allow that off-gassing from either end, one end, whichever way they put it on. The challenge of what's happened in other scenarios is they put blankets on an EV fire, it's now mushrooming up, a lot of pressure. A first responder will go and lift up to try to relieve that pressure and just get blown back with a major off-gas explosion. Extremely dangerous. So what we have here is a way to still contain the fire with a heat rating. This is made with a high silica that's impregnated with vermiculite. It can withstand the heat for extended amounts of time, weeks on end, not just minutes as a heat test, and it's the best solution in dealing with an EV fire.
What would you say makes it kind of different from the rest on the market?
I think the real difference is that we looked at the blankets that are on the market, and none of them provide this off-gassing solution, even if they can withstand the heat for extended amount of times. Another big difference that we did, we wanted to make the best blanket on the market without sparing any cost. We use an Inconel steel thread and on all of the seams. That's important because if another blanket doesn't have that, we saw, again, research that showed these blankets were falling apart, and that's not going to help contain anything if it's got a big gap in it.
So obviously we've discussed the showstopper at FDIC, but it's clear that obviously America Fire Blanket have a long range of existing products. So what else are you showing at the event, and how are they different to everything else?
Yeah. Well, we started out with our America Fire Blanket. This is a 40 by 40 inch fire blanket, similar to traditional fire blankets you may see. However, we set out to produce and create the safest fire blanket on the market for many reasons I'll tell you why. But first and foremost, if people aren't familiar how to use a fire blanket, this is something you might keep in the home, the kitchen, in a cottage, an RV, in your car, many different places, wherever a fire could break out. And What you want to do is grab it by these two straps. I would use two hands and pull that out. You pull out the blanket, hold these straps, shield yourself, and then just place it over the fire. So what we did with this fire blanket, it instantly suffocates the fire. We sought out to create the safest and the most effective fire blanket on the market. Not all fire blankets are made the same, and unfortunately, other ones on the market are made with a very brittle, cheap, and flaky fiberglass that over time will crack when pulling out, just like I did there. And if that cracks on the customer, it's not going to work at suffocating the fire. So the America fire blanket is a different kind of fiberglass. In fact, you wouldn't want to even be touching or doing this with any other fire blanket, let alone I show this as a demo. Not that you should do that with fiberglass, but that's how confident we are in our fiberglass. It doesn't fall apart over time. So customers can know they can have this in the kitchen for many years to come.
So we've discussed the new, we've discussed the existing product. 12 months down the line, can you see new challenges, potentially new products?
Absolutely. I mean, our organization, our company, we've got the best minds on our in the industry working with us from all different levels of fire protection, certification, and we're paying attention to research. We're looking at what's good out there, what needs to be improved. And that's what we did with this product. We made the improvement needed so that it's safer for people. We have a philosophy in our company, we'd rather save a life than save a buck. And so if it means spending more on better quality product, we will always do that to protect the lives of first responders and the end consumer too.
Well, I think we can look forward to what's coming in the next 12 months.
Thank you, and thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.